Racing time in the batteries. Here we go.
Boo.
Hey folks, welcome to the Flipside. I'm Sam.
I'm JT.
And this is our top 5 games that we played on the Dice Tower Cruise 2025. The creme de la creme indeed. This is kind of like a follow-up list to a list that we published before the cruise. Top 10 or basically bottom 5, top 5 games that we wanted to play on the cruise. So at the end of this video, we're going to give a report on what games we were able to get played.
Yep.
You'll see some of them probably popping up in the lists over on the Dice Tower and then here as well. But we'll talk about why we weren't able to get some of those others played. But anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and get to it. Our top 5 games we played on the Dice Tower Cruise. My number 5 is a game that was on his list of games that he wanted to play on the cruise.
Good.
But it wasn't on mine because, frankly, I hadn't heard about it yet. And that is Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game.
Indeed.
My goodness, what a fun game.
Yes.
What a fun game. Now, we played 6 chapters on the session that I sat down and played. I know that you played it much more than that. I think you may have gone all the way through it.
No, I think we only got to 12.
12.
I went through it up to like 8 once. We went to 8 once, 6 once, 7 or 9 once, and 12 once.
Wow, so you played this like 5 times?
I estimate that I played about 6.5, 7 hours.
Dang! Well, that should give you some idea on how much
Spoiler alert.
liked this game, and you'll probably be hearing it from him a little bit later on. But I really did enjoy this game. This is going to be one that I'm going to try to pick up. I know he's already He's already picked it up.
It's in the mail,
waiting for it to come in.
Yep.
But this is one of those games that, even though your buddy has it, you buy a copy for yourself because you don't want to have to rely on him being around to play it.
That's right.
So that is my number 5, Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, the trick-taking game.
Nice. My number 5 is another game that didn't make my other list, and the truth is because it should have made my list of ones that I wanted to play on this cruise, but I didn't think it was going to be available. But somebody on the cruise actually brought it. So I got to play that, and that was amazing. But it's called Panda Spin. Now,
you played this with Tom?
I did.
Oh, dang it!
I played this with Tom and Danny's sister. Oh, I can't think of her name. I apologize. I'll think of it. But they taught me Panda Spin. Panda Spin is a trick-taking game that's really quite cool. There are several different, you want to call them suits, but the suits are related to elements as well. So there's like a steel suit and a wood suit and stuff like that. So they all have special abilities. And it's kind of a mix between a trick-taking game and a ladder climbing game. It's not a ladder climbing game, but in the theme of Scout or something like that. Whereas on my turn, if I get to start, I can start with a single card, I can start with a pair, I can start with a multiple set, I can start with a run, and everybody after me has to follow with the exact same thing I play. So if I play a 3-card run, you have to beat me with a 3-card run. You can't beat me with a 4-card run or whatever else. You have to beat me with a 3-card run, except for there's these things called bombs in there, which are 4 of a kinds or more that will beat anything. But so anyways, I play something down. Say I play a 3-card run, a 2, 3, 4, and somebody else plays a bigger run, and it goes around. When nobody can beat whoever has the highest, that person gets to discard their cards. So this is a hand shedding game. Yeah. Everybody else has to pick their cards back up and put them back in their hand and go again.
Gotcha.
The trick is when you pick them back up in your hand, there's 2 sides of these cards. You flip them over to the blue side, and the blue side's way stronger. Oh. And then you go again. And it's got this really crazy, like sometimes you're like, man, I want these cards back because I want that 2 9s. Like you could have a blue card that has 2 9s. It's a pair of 9s by itself.
Oh, wow. That's
you know what I mean? So if I have 2 9s in my hand, I might want to lose this one so I can get that back in my hand. So then I can play a bomb of 4 9s later. There's this really cool balance. Cool. The cards are gorgeous. The game looks gorgeous. Super excited. This thing, as far as I know, I wanted it last year, but sold out in Essen in like the first day.
Dang.
And I don't think it's available yet anywhere else.
Yep.
So I'm waiting patiently for Panda Spin, but this is a really cool trick-taking game that I'm super looking forward to.
I wanted to be part of that play, but I just... when did you guys do it?
Saturday night.
After the thing or before it?
Right before it, I think.
Right before it, yeah.
Maybe right before it.
Yeah.
But yeah, really cool game. I'm glad I got a chance. I sure appreciate them teaching me.
That's cool. That's cool. All right, my number 4 is a game that was on my list of games that I wanted to play on the cruise, and I'm very happy that a couple of people who were listening to that list said, hey, I'll teach you.
Surprise.
We connected, and they taught the game to me. Thank you so much for that. Rock Hard, 1977.
Nice. I would have liked to play this one. I don't know what I was playing at the time. But
yeah, it was in the Windjammer after dinner one night. I don't know what happened. I think you guys might have been playing. It might have been the night that did you guys play?
Well, you guys were already loaded up on player count too.
Yeah, I think we were.
Yep.
So this is a great, fun, thematic game. And I mean that it is so cool how each part of, like, so basically it's not really worker placement, it's more like worker movement. You only have one worker, and it's you.
Yep.
And in the day, you have a number of different things.
Stuff.
You have a number of different things you can do. You can go, like, get more, supplies, like hire roadies, or, do that kind of stuff. You can only do that stuff during the day. And then you go to the afternoon, where you can do certain things, like, I think it's more like the evening, where you can go play gigs, or you can go to a recording studio and do a session there, or a number of different things there. And then you also have a late night, where you can go to bed early, or you can go hang out at these different locations in town and try to schmooze and network and that kind of stuff. It's a really, really fun game. And then there are also some actions that you can do at any time of the day. Like, one of them is you have a job. And if you
I was gonna say, during the day, don't you have to work?
Well, it depends on what your job is. Like Jess.
Oh, you could have
her character was a truck driver, so she could do her job any time of the day.
Oh.
I had to do mine during the day. The first section.
He worked at Toys R Us.
Yep, something like. No, I was like a legal assistant or something like that. But the cool thing is that you don't have to go to work, but if you don't go to work 3 times, you get fired, and now you are a professional musician.
There you go.
So that's just a cool thing. But it's got a really cool thing where you go a certain number of rounds, and you're continuing to play. You're just trying to accrue the most points. If somebody gets to 50 points first before all of those rounds run out, that can be a premature ending of the game, though. A lot of really cool things. The component quality of this game is off the freaking charts. Love it. Now, again, highly deluxeified, because that's what's in the Dice Tower library. But even the base components are really cool. Like, your player board is a speaker, and some of the dials of the amplifier
and stuff
are what you're trying to gain notoriety in. It's such a fun game. I really enjoyed my play of it, and thank you so much for those 2 listeners who taught me how to play. I appreciate you so much. So that is my number 4, Rock Hard, 1977.
Nice. I would like to play this one for sure. That's cool.
All right. So
my number 4 is another game that I didn't know I wanted to play until I played it, and I'm so thankful. I was just walking through the library, and somebody came up, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to play this game?" And I'm like, "Sure. What is it?" And we went off and played it. And then I taught it to you guys the same day or the next day. I think I taught it to you guys, and then I think I ordered it either in between the teachers or right after the teacher. I don't know. But this is Feed the Kraken.
Oh!
Feed the Kraken is such a cool little game. The nice thing about this is a social deduction game, kind of in the vein of Battlestar Galactica, except for very small, much lighter, much quicker. So it's kind of really gives you that feel, but in a 1 hour time frame, right? So which is really kind of nice. But in Feed the Kraken, all you're doing is you're sailing a ship from the bottom of the board to the top of the board, and you're either going to be a sailor, you're going to be a pirate, or you're going to be the cultist. The sailors want to go to this port over here. The pirates want to steer the ship to this port over here. And the cultist wants to go right to the Kraken so that he can really, the cultist's job, what he wants to do to win is he wants to jump off and be eaten by the Kraken.
Yep.
But if you don't let him jump off and be eaten by the Kraken, then he would rather drive you right into the Kraken's mouth and have all of you eaten by the Kraken. And this is done in a very cool way. So one of you gets to be the captain. The captain gets to pick a navigator and a first mate, or it's not a first mate, I can't think of the name right now, but gets to pick 2 other players. Then there's these cards you draw, which will basically give you a direction and an ability for the round. And they hide this card, and then it goes to the navigator. They get to pick 1 of 2 cards to put in there. Then the third person gets to look at both of them, or no, the navigator gets to look at both of them. Pick one and discard the other one, and then give it back to the captain, because the captain's the one that always has to give the bad news.
Right.
They open it up and the ship goes whatever. But it's a very fun social deduction game.
Yep.
Who put in that bad card? Who put in the cultist card that we didn't want, or whatever else? There's some funny mechanics in there. You can cut somebody's tongue out. Not in real life, just in the game. Then they can't talk. You can also whip people to get the truth out of them, to find out what they are. It's just all this kind of funny stuff. But it was quite thematic. It was
Very
super
fun game. Yeah,
So,
very fun game.
But that is my number 4, Feed the Kraken.
Feed the Kraken.
I can't wait to feed him more.
All right, my number 3 was also a game that was on my original list, and this one is a game that is a standalone successor to another game that is available called Canopy. This one's called Canopy Evergreen. Has Vincent Dutrait's artwork, and this is one that Emily and Doug taught us how to play, me and Jess, and it has some interesting mechanisms in it. My initial impression, I really enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. My initial impression is that a 4-player game might be a little bit too long for me. But I'm hoping that a 2-player or a 3-player game will be a little bit less time consuming, but give me the same feel that the game has, because I really do enjoy what we are doing in the game and how the game looks. I just want to see if I can get that time dialed back a little bit. But I really enjoyed this game. It was a great, fun play, and I'm probably going to be picking up a copy of it and getting more plays in to see if I can get that time dialed back a little bit.
Have you played Canopy?
Nope.
Oh, I was wondering how they compare. I haven't played either one.
I haven't played either. I haven't played Canopy either, because honestly, it was Dutrait's artwork that put this one on the radar for me. And only after I found out about this game did I find out that there was another game called Canopy, and that this was kind of like a standalone expansion. So that's my number 3, Canopy Evergreen.
Nice. My number 3 is an old faithful for me. It's a game that I've loved ever since it's come out. I'm kind of a champion for this game, and one of our friends here on the Flipside, one of our subscribers, or whatever you want to call it, Thomas asked if I would teach it, and this is Circadian's First Light. I'm going to teach it to him and Danny. It's funny, cool. Every time I put this game on the table, doesn't matter if it's been 3 months since I played it or a year and a half since I played it, as soon as I start playing it, I remember how much I love it.
Yep.
Like, this is just such a beautiful game for me. This is a dice placement game where your dice are your workers. You have a choice. You can have anywhere from 1 to 5 dice on your turn. You don't want to have 1 dice. That means you've kind of managed poorly, but you're trying to keep 4 or 5 dice. But they can either go into your farms on your board to farm resources for you, or you can send them out onto the planets. In Circadians, you're visiting an alien planet, and you're interacting with them in multiple ways. It's a dice placement game. It's very tight as far as resource management, stuff like that. But I just really, really love Circadian's First Light, and it was a really fun play. We actually didn't finish. We got to the very end of, we got like really close to the end of the last round, but it was right before dinner. But we still had a blast, and we still had a great time. So I'm thankful that they asked me to play it, and we had a great time doing it. So. That's awesome. My number 3, Circadian's First Light.
All right, my number 2 is also a game that was on my list originally of games that I wanted to play, and I really, really enjoyed it. I knew I was going to enjoy the game. It wasn't a surprise to me, but I really enjoyed the characters that were in this one. This is Marvel Dice Throne X-Men. No. We actually played a 4-player game of it, which is, well, hear me out now. All right. A 4-player game is actually a team where it's them 2 against you 2. Mm-hmm. And you go in a zigzag formation, and you randomly choose who you're going to be attacking by rolling a die. If it's a 1 or a 2, you attack the person on your right. If it's a 3 or a 4, you attack the person on your left. And if
it's a 5 or a 6, you have to punch your buddy in the ear.
You choose
who
you're going to attack, which is interesting in a way because the attack that you're leveling, this person might be able to defend it better than that person. So you're obviously not going to attack that one. So by rolling the die, sometimes it forces you to do something that you probably don't want to do, but it balances the game out because that keeps you from like totally pounding on one person. But another cool thing about the 2-player version of it is that, or rather the 4-player version of it, is that you only have 1 health dial. It's not like you have 4 health dials.
Yeah,
it's
for your team.
Your team has 50 health.
Yep.
My team has 50 health. Yep. Whomever is getting attacked, it doesn't really matter. Yep. The only thing that really matters is how well you're able to defend it. I really did enjoy it. But here's the thing. The kids really love Marvel Dice Throne. So they actually played first. And from that play, Dante played Iceman and Daphne played Psylocke. I want to say Psylocke. And she said, Iceman is overpowered. Way overpowered. Too overpowered. She got her butt kicked.
Yep.
Overpowered. He's not. It's
Dang it, because he's my favorite.
It's just one of those things where, no, he's really powerful. He's really, really good.
Really?
But yes, he's really powerful, but he's also very prone to something that Psylocke does a lot, and that's paralysis. I don't think Daphne knew how to play paralysis very well. So that's why he seemed overpowered.
Play into your strengths.
Yes. But Wolverine, I played Wolverine, Jess played Psylocke. Sebastian sitting across from me played Iceman, and the other one was, I can't remember the last one. Storm. And Joelle, Sebastian's wife, played Storm. All 4 characters are awesome.
Yeah.
All 4 characters are awesome. I can't wait to play the other ones. This was kind of like an early advanced prototype.
Does this mean
copy.
I can get rid of Marvel Dice Throne?
Huh?
Does this mean I can get rid of Marvel ones because those are so much better?
No.
Oh, okay.
You can add it to Marvel Dice Throne, and now you've got a more robust game. I really enjoyed all 4 of these characters. It was a great experience. Loved it. Loved it. That's my number 2. Marvel Dice Throne.
All right, X-Men. We're going to play an 8v8.
I don't know about all
Marvel versus X-Men. No, I'm just kidding. All right, that's fair. I did not play that one, but it is coming soon.
Yes.
All right, my number 2 is a game that's already been mentioned. I don't remember. I think actually last list, but that's okay. Spoilers. Go watch it anyways. My number 2 was another game that, truthfully, I kind of avoided this game because I kickstarted a game called Wild Serengeti, which I thought had some mechanical problems. It was a neat thought process, but I wasn't a huge fan of the game itself.
Yeah.
But this is Life of the Amazonia from Bad Comet.
Crossover!
And I thought this was a successor.
But it's
not even the same game. It's not even close. It has nothing to do with the other game, other than they use the same meeples, maybe. Wild Serengeti was a beautiful game, but mechanically I didn't. But Life of the Amazonia was my number 2. What a great game! This is my kind of game. You were, like you said, you're building out with tiles. You start out with a tile that has 6 hexes on it. You know, you got some water and some desert and some forest. And you just start to build out these 3 biomes, and you're scoring by, you have multiple different animals that you're trying to get into your biomes, which you have to spend resources for. And you're scoring by how those animals and everything interacts on your board, much like Cascadia or something like that. But the cool thing is there's a lot more depth in this, and it's a bag builder. This is a bag builder where you're putting coins, which is buying power for getting more chips. You're putting coins, leaves, I don't want the red fruit, and something else in there, like water. You're putting these 4 different things in different denominations. You can have, a water that's a 1, a 2, a 3, or a 4 on the chip. But you're having to spend these wisely, and the more tiles you build out, the more expensive they get. The more trees you put out, or the more lily pads you put out, everything gets more expensive. And the animals are limited resources that everybody's trying to get for different scoring. So this is a really, really cool game, guaranteed to come into my collection. As soon as I can find the deluxe copy of it. I don't want a cardboard copy. I want the whole thing. But this is a great game. Absolutely great game.
Special thanks to Jeremiah for teaching us how to play it.
Thank you very much. That was awesome.
Thank you, Joe, for joining us. We played a 3-player game, and Jeremiah just taught us, and he did that out of a desire to make sure we had a good experience.
I think he could have played.
I think so too.
I think he was a little too. He should have jumped in and played. But I wouldn't have worried about a little more time or whatever else. Great game.
Very good game. Nice pick. My number 1 is a game that was not on my list. It is a game that is tried and true. In my opinion, it is a game that was on the bottom 5 for JT, so it is our second crossover.
That's your number 1.
This is my number 1, and it was very close. It was my most memorable experience, gaming experience from the cruise. I will not forget this one for a couple of different reasons.
Because you got to beat me, see?
Well, I did, but I came so close to screwing it up for the entire human race because I didn't read a card. Battlestar Galactica is my number 1. It was such a roller coaster experience. That's the best way I can put it, because I got to a point where I did something that was so boneheaded. I really got down on myself, and I kind of have to apologize because I probably tainted the experience for everybody else. That's how badly I was on myself. I wasn't pissed off at anybody else in the game except myself. But it just, turn of events, humans were able to pull it out at the end, and which usually doesn't happen. I've won before as a Cylon. Last time we played it, I won. He and I both won because I turned him into a Cylon.
Yep, he did.
So I haven't been able to win as a human in a long time, and so that was the high point. The low point was me almost tanking the game for the humans because I didn't read a card properly when I was trying to get out of the brig. But this is just one of those things where, like JT was saying in the last one, it was a definite learning experience. That's the second time I've played that game with a Cylon Commander. I don't like it.
I don't like it.
I do not like it. Just throws a kink into the game. I think David likes it. That's why he plays with it.
Sure. Well, I think he likes it for the variety of not being so. I mean, that's for his experience. Yes. He likes it.
That is correct.
For the experience of the entire game, I don't think that.
I think Dirk also likes it as well, because usually they're talking about who's going to do it.
Sure.
That's what they were talking about at the beginning of the game. Who's going to do what? So he usually lets David take the Cylon Commander, because I think David likes it a lot. But I just don't think it. I think it throws too big of a wrench into this.
Yeah, I think it hindered the game overall.
But I really enjoyed the game. It just a reminder of how much fun that game is. But that's my number 1 gaming experience from the cruise, Battlestar Galactica.
Nice. My number 1 gaming experience from the cruise, if you haven't already guessed by listening to both lists, At least actually yours was at the end of this list. This was my number 2 on my most anticipated games to play on the cruise. And my number 1 experience, and this is Lord of the Rings trick-taking game, Fellowship of the Rings. This game is a fantastic trick-taking game, much in the line of something like The Crew, where you have very limited communication. You're going to be tasked, and if you're kind of comparing it to The Crew, in The Crew, you have objectives that you are randomly dealt as a group, and then you pass them out so that you can complete them based on what your hands are. In this game, you're going to play scenarios, and the scenarios are very cool. Some of them add much different things that you have to deal with. But you're going to play scenarios, and you're going to get a list of characters that you can play with. Frodo, Bilbo Baggins, Gandalf, whatever else. You're going to get a list of characters. And those characters become your personal goals for the game. So unlike The Crew, where you might only have one person with a goal or two people with a goal, or, if you're playing really high level, multiple goals. But in this one, every single person has a goal, and you all have to work together to do it. And the initial setup, as soon as you've drawn your characters, everyone has a little setup piece. You might be able to trade a card with Frodo, or you might be able to, get an extra card if you're Gandalf or whatever else. But that setup piece at the very beginning and the communication that you do just by giving somebody a card and them giving you a card back, it just makes a really nice strategic start to every hand. And I really like that a lot. Not to mention that the artwork is beautiful. The cards are very nice. It's
really a thematic experience.
It's really quite a
It follows the book chapters.
And as far as I'm concerned, and I'm sure that they're already doing it, but this one's the Fellowship of the Rings. I'm going to be excited for the Two Towers. I'm going to be excited for Return of the King. I'm going to be excited for The Hobbit. Do the Silmarillion. I don't care. Do them all.
Do it.
One every year. I will be getting this game until the end of time. So
shut up and take my money.
I really like trick-taking games anyways, but this to me is a step up from The Crew. And the other cool thing is the One Ring is the only trump in the entire game.
It's the only card that beats everything.
There's a ring suit, which doesn't trump anything. The One Ring, which is extremely thematic, is the trump card.
And you can choose. You can
choose
to win
to
or
not
choose
win
to
with
lose.
it too. So to use the power of the ring. So
that's awesome. Such a good game.
I really like this game.
Such a good game. Can't wait to play it some more. All right, so if you've watched both lists, you've already deduced that I played 5 of the games that were on my 10 games that I wanted to get played on the cruise.
Me too.
The other 5 were Biohack, which isn't a big deal because I have a copy here. We can get it played.
Agreed.
Monkey Palace was another one that I wanted to play. Shush.
Hawkins got lots of Legos.
Shush.
I'm just kidding.
I just wanted to play a game that's made on Legos. It's a game
I saw it played quite a few times.
I know, and that was part of the problem. Every time I went to go get it, it was gone. And then the one time I was able to get it, it was late at night. I pulled it, I went down, got it, went back up to the Windjammer, and Jess is like, I'm really, really tired. So I'm like,
go to bed. Get lost. Get lost. Go ahead. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, I'll take it back.
All right.
And then Windmill Valley was, we talked about playing that.
I wanted to learn the rules. We needed to teach. And I didn't know the rules to learn it, so I didn't get a chance.
I don't think they have Happy Home in the library anymore.
I don't even know what that is still.
But I wanted to play that one. I didn't have it. And then Books of Time, I just wasn't able to get around to it. At the end of the day, you only have a limited amount of time.
For sure.
And I just wasn't able to get to these 5. I'll get to them eventually, I guess.
Yeah, fair. I'm in the same boat. I had 5 I didn't play. My first one was Terrorscape. We played, Cthulhu Death May Die and stuff like that, but Terrorscape I just never got to. It looks very cool. I watched it play a couple of times. In fact, I just stood by a couple while they were playing it for a little bit and kind of chatted about it, but I didn't get to play Terrorscape, which is okay. The next one is Joyride, and the funny thing is I asked Doug. Doug owns Joyride, so we can play it here eventually, which is why I didn't care too much.
Right.
But I asked him multiple times to teach it, and he kept blowing me off. So either Doug doesn't like Joyride, or he was too busy with other things. But I think he doesn't like it as much as he might. So maybe if he has a free copy of it, I'll just take it. But anyways, we'll see. The next one was Ethnos 2nd Edition. And the truthful, after I got the box out and I looked through it and other complaints that I've heard talking to other people about it, I'm going to stick with Ethnos 1. Honestly, I didn't want to put it on the table.
Oh, cool.
So I had other games. We had lots of games to play. So
but at least you were able to
look
at the physical copy.
I looked at all the cards. I looked through it. And I just decided I didn't need to put it on the table. So my next one was Civolution. And I knew that I had very limited time for big, heavy games. And I just didn't have time to get this one in. You know, I got to play Unconscious Mind and a couple other things, but I just didn't have time to get this big one in. And the last one was Inferno. And truth of the matter is, I really wish I could have got Inferno to the table. I did pick it up twice, trying to read the rules, but then got sucked into another game, and I just never got the rules for this one done. So this is one I probably just need to buy to play, but that's okay. Sooner or later, I'll play this game.
Sure.
This was the one game on there that I guess I feel sad that I didn't get to, but the other one's totally fine.
Yep. All right, well, that is that. Our top 5 games that we played on the cruise, and a little bit of an explanation of why we weren't able to get to the other 5 that we missed on our lists. But if you enjoy this, hit that like and subscribe button. Also, hit the bell icon, so that'll let you know when we have more videos coming up. And we'll see you guys and gals on the flip side. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Come to the cruise next year.
Yeah. There's room right now. There won't be later.